It's an amazing project to knit, and it's also really great to give away because of how it's received. I've now made 25 of the Stormy weather hat. I had to ask my son first when I picked out colors, of course, because he's very particular about his hats. But a lot of my knitting slump feelings linger with those whips, and I highly recommend having a box like this with knits to look forward to that you know you're going to do, and also some random yarns that you really want to work with but that you don't know what you're going to do. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Oline and I'm a knitter from Norway, and welcome to my knitting podcast. Here I talk about all things knitting, current projects, finished projects, planned projects. Sometimes I talk a bit about yarn, just anything that pops into my head while we sit here and chat. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me this week. It's been the best week of knitting I've had in a while. I've just gone through the biggest knitting slump I've had in, I think, 5 years. I've had bigger knitting slumps before, but this has been my biggest one in quite some time. But I think after this week, I want to say that I'm finally out of it. I still have some lingering feelings about the projects I've been trying to work on through my knitting slump. I'm still struggling a bit to knit on those, but my knitting mojo is definitely back and I'm really excited about it. So I'm really excited to share what I've knit this week. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm wearing today. And just like last week, I'm wearing another one of my fall knits and another knit that I knit last fall, and also another one of my knit that has been a little bit felted. I don't think it is noticeable when you just see me wearing it. I don't think if I walk past you in the grocery store that you would tell that this is felted. The stitch definition is still kinda there. The stitches are a bit more blurry, and I don't know, but felted things, like not 100% felted things, but semi-felted things pill a lot for me. I think maybe on the ribbing, that's where you can see the felting the most. But the felting really isn't too bad. You can't tell how felted it is by look. My sister was even fooled by it, but when you touch it, you can tell, and I definitely would not be able to frog this. This is even more felted than my Dagmar jacket that I wore last week. Both of them were finished at kind of the same time, and I was still trusting my washing machine with my knits at that time, so both suffered the same fate. Luckily, I noticed soon enough with both of them, so they didn't end up completely felted. They're still wearable, but I have found that I'm wearing this a little bit less than I thought. This is knit in Drops Daisy, which is a lovely yarn to work with and a really lovely yarn to wear. It's the softest yarn I've ever felt, I think, which means that it does pill quite easily. I've knit a couple of things in Drops Daisy, and this is definitely what pills the most. I've also knit my son a sweater in Drops Daisy, which he has used a ton, which really hasn't pilled that much. So I think it's the felting combined with the Drops Daisy that's making this pill so much. But I would say the pilling is worth it for how soft it is. But I am a tight knitter, and if I didn't say, this is the Zipper Sweater Light by Petiteknit, and I've found with knitting the zipper sweaters from Petiteknit that the sizing isn't really the same across all of them. For the kids sweater, I've found the zipper sweater light to have a lot more positive ease than the regular zipper sweater. The regular zipper sweater runs quite small in all sizes for kids. And then when I knit zipper sweaters for my husband, his regular zipper sweater is also quite true to size, while his light one is super oversized. But for me, my regular zipper sweater is super oversized, and then my light one turned out really small, and I also think the felting didn't really help, so it's a bit cropped in the sleeves. It's a bit cropped in the body, so it isn't really the outdoorsy sweater I had imagined. I think zipper sweaters were great for hikes, going outside, being in the forest, and this does not really fit that because a cropped short-sleeved sweater just isn't the best for that, but it is really pretty, so I have been using it just like as a regular sweater, and it's still really nice indoors when it's starting to get colder, and it is really starting to get colder now. When I'm looking outside my window, I can see that the mountain right outside my window is covered in snow now, so we're definitely heading towards winter. I hope we have at least a couple of more weeks, hopefully more than a month, until we get snow here, but we are heading quickly towards winter and it's starting to be cold, so it is really nice to have sweaters like this that I'll wear inside, but it didn't turn out quite as I had hoped. But I do have plans to make myself another zipper sweater soon, because my original zipper sweater, the chunky version, didn't turn out quite as I'd hoped, and then my light version didn't either, so now I'm hoping to make myself a third one that will hopefully fulfill all of my dreams. And the last detail I'll say about this is that for my other zipper sweaters I've gotten the Petiteknit zipper, but for this one I got a zipper from, I think, Self-Made, which is not the like metal color zipper, and I really enjoyed that. I think first of all that this was more of a correct length for the zipper sweater, so I didn't have to do that much cutting into the zipper, and I also really like how it just blends into the fabric, because I really managed to nail the color, so you can't really see it that well, and I've really enjoyed that it isn't like such it doesn't like grab your eye and attention, the zipper, because sometimes my zipper installation is a bit wonky, so I don't want the eyes to go directly to the zipper. I would rather the whole sweater just be one thing, so I'm really happy with that. I still have some Petiteknit zippers because I bought a lot all at once because of the shipping, so I'll continue to use those, but I think after I've used up all of those, I'm definitely going to make the move into zippers in the same color, because it's such a game changer. I think it really brings it all more together, but as I said, that is going to be the last thing I say about my zipper sweater, and then we can move into what I've actually been doing this week. And I thought this week that I'd start with my finished projects, because I have a lot of those, and that's where I spend most of my energy. So to start the week off, I just before the last podcast, I think, knit not the Stormy weather hat by Strikkesoffe, but her fingering weight version, the all weather hat, to finish a baby gift. And knitting the all weather hat made me really happy. It made me remember how much I love the Stormy weather hat, and I really love when I finish baby gifts, and I still have 2 more deadline baby gifts to go, so I dove straight into doing more Stormy weather hats. They are my favorite. I think the all weather hat was really great, but the Stormy weather hat is faster because it is DK weight, and I also think that suits babies maybe a bit better. Also, most of the baby gifts I'm going to make now are for babies that are going to be born late fall or middle of winter, so I thought the Stormy weather hat would be best. So first up I made this. I do not remember what this yarn is called. Let me see if I can see it here. It's Knit at Home's Superfine Merino in this blue color. I do not know the color name. This is just yarn I have inherited, but I've used this yarn for a baby gift before, and it's really nice. I think I made a Stormy weather hat with it before too, and I really enjoy that, so I did that again. I also didn't have a lot of blue colored DK weight yarn that would fit. And I know for this baby gift I've asked them like, what color would you prefer, and they have said blue, so I really wanted the hat to be blue. But I did have that one, so that's what I did. I think this is the size 3 to 6 months. I didn't want to do the newborn size because I think this is a bit chunky for newborns maybe, and a lot of parents are really careful with newborns' heads, so, and they also grow out of it really quickly at that point. So I thought 3 to 6 months is good. You can start wearing it earlier, and then you also have a hat that lasts until 6 months. So I thought that was great for a October baby. So I'm excited about that. It also flew by, and I was still in a knitting slump at this point, at the very end of one, but it was great to go back to something that I love, and I don't think I love any knitting pattern more than I love the Stormy Weather hat. It's such a great pattern. It's amazing for babies, it's amazing for 5-year-olds, all ages love it the same, the parents love it, everyone loves it, so it's an amazing project to knit, and it's also really great to give away because of how it's received. So that was the first one I made for the first baby gift I'm going to give. And then while I was already in like Stormy Weather hat mode, I cast on another one. This is knit in Per Gynt in the color Poppy. I think this might be my third hat, Stormy Weather hat knit in this color. I really enjoy this yarn and this color for the Stormy Weather hat. This is for a little girl, and I really like this hat and color for a little girl. I think it's really cute. This is again in the same size, 3 to 6 months, because I just think these kind of hats are better once you hit that age, and then it also lasts for longer. This is for a middle of the winter baby, so it might be like early spring by the time this fits, but it really depends, and you can also start wearing it earlier. So I just think sizing up a little bit from the very small size is a good idea most of the time. And also parents, I am knitting gifts primarily for others that are knitters, and most of the time the moms want to do the smaller sizes themselves because those are really special, like the first hat, the first everything. So I decided to do 3 to 6 months. This also flew by. I think I spent one day or one evening on each of these. They are amazing. They really fly by. I think the red one is a tiny bit bigger than the blue one, but that is just because Per Gynt is a little bit more chunky. But I think the merino also, once it's washed, does usually grow a little bit. So I think that's going to be fine. And then I thought I was done with Stormy Weather hats for a while. The Per Gynt one also marks number 25. I've now made 25 of the Stormy Weather hat, which is a little bit insane, but it is a really great pattern. But I thought I was done with Stormy Weather hats, but then my youngest cousin turned 6 months, and in my family that's something we celebrate, and I didn't have a gift. Unfortunately, I didn't remember that I didn't have a gift in time, but I did get started on another Stormy Weather hat. She has just grown out of her first one that I gave her when she was born, so I think she also got a 3 to 6 months hat when she was born, and she's been able to use that most of her life. And this is the next size. This is knit in Sandnes Garn Smart. And again, I don't know the color name because it's yarn I got from another one stash, but it is a really lovely deep red color, so I thought that would be really nice. And this is in the 6 to 9 month size. I was a bit unsure if I was going to do the 1 year size instead, but I thought I love to do the Stormy Weather hat, so I'll just make another one when she grows out of this one. It does look a little bit small now, but again needs to be washed to kind of relax a little bit. But I think this is going to be my last Stormy weather hat for a while, because I'm done with the Stormy weather hats for the baby gifts right now, and I don't know anyone who needs new Stormy weather hats right now. But if that changes, I'll be the first to cast on a Stormy weather hat, because it is a lovely pattern, and let this be your sign if you're going to have a baby, be a grandma, knit a baby gift of any kind, knit the Stormy weather hat. It's amazing. And if you live in a warmer climate, knit the all weather hat in fingering weight yarn. That's also a great one. It's basically the same pattern. I think the ear clefts are a tiny bit narrower on the fingering weight one, but I think that's pretty much the only difference. But I cannot recommend these hats enough. I really want one of my own. I have made kind of one for myself, but that one doesn't have ear cuffs, so I might be making myself another one with ear cuffs sometime. But that's the Stormy weather hats for this week. And while I was making those, my son was getting increasingly fed up with me, because he I don't know anyone who loves hats as much as he does. He is a huge hat guy. He has 2 Stormy weather hats of his own, and especially his favorite one, his red one in alpaca wool. He does not want to take that off even when we're inside. And he has a bunny hat that I made this Easter that he wants to sleep with. He's massively into hats, and he's also very much into fairy tales and animals, so he's been making hat requests for so long, and he was so annoyed that I was making hats for other people and not for him. So finally I got around to making his biggest wish, which is a bear hat. I struggle to remember the name of this pattern, but I think it is Björnelua bear hat. I'll write it on the screen so you get the pattern name and designer right. But I think I cast this on not yesterday but the day before that. And you start by casting on with Judy's Magic cast on for the face here, and then you do, I think it's called fisherman's rib. I think for the face, and that made it so nice and fluffy around here. I was afraid it was going to be a bit big of an opening, so you would get a lot of air in and it wouldn't really fit well, but it really does fit well. And then you knit back and forth over here while you have a couple of stitches resting, and then you get to the ears. I am not going to be able to explain those, but if you get the pattern, there is also linked to videos, which helped me a lot. I think they turned out really cute, and then you do some sort of neck decrease here to get it to a balaclava, and then you pick up stitches around here to make the last part of the balaclava. And what's really great about the sizes we're starting to head into now is that this is kind of a family piece. I think I knit the size 7 to 8 years because it looked like an intricate pattern, so I didn't want to repeat it too much. And with hats, I think you can just grow into them. He really enjoys hats. He uses them as costumes inside, so I thought I'll just get the most bang for my buck. And that also means that this fits both me and my husband, so I don't think we'll be allowed to borrow it, but my husband kind of wants one of his own now because he thought it was, one, it's really cute, but two, it is really a really nice balaclava. I think for an adult I would make the neck longer, of course, because that's that one part that doesn't like really fit, but the head is really nice. This is really nice and cozy and warm. It's a really nice pattern. I'm really happy with this, and my son was so excited. He put himself to bed. He went to bed as early as possible because he was like, "Mom, you just need to be at peace. Just knit me a bear hat." So that was really nice. And he woke up so excited. He already loves this. He's outside right now, and it was a bit of a fight to let me borrow this because he just wants to wear this all the time. When he saw this for the first time when he woke up, I think he wore it inside for like 2 hours. He's very much into hats, but I'm really happy I made this. It's really nice. I think the suggested yarn was Kammarose Snefnuk, which I don't have, and then Drops yarn that would kind of substitute that would be Drops Air, which I also don't have, and I was not going to get yarn for this. I just searched through my stash trying to find something that maybe would make, I think the gauge was 14 stitches. So I ended up finding a skein of Baby Merino in brown because I wanted it to have the darkest brown here is that Drops Baby Merino because the more fluffy yarn I had was very light, and I wanted it to have some darker spots to be more bear-like. And then it's one strand of kid silk in beige or light beige, and then also one strand of Drops alpaca in beige or light beige. I think beige, maybe camel, that color is called. I'm not quite sure, but all of those 3 strands together turned into this, and I had to ask my son first when I picked out colors, of course, because he's very particular about his hats, but he was happy with it, and I think it turned into a really great beer hat. Of course, now that I've done the beer hat, he is moving on to his other suggestions for hats. He really wants a lamb hat because I made a lamb balaclava a couple of weeks ago now for the baby gift. I'll see if I can find that to show it to you. He is not very happy that this only comes in baby sizes. He really wants one like this. He thought this one was so cute. Biggest heartbreak of his life when I figured it wasn't his size. So I have to figure out how to make a lamb hat for him. And I also think he wants a acorn hat, if that's what it's called. And he wants basically all of the really popular fairy tale animals in a hat. So it's going to be a lot of hats, and that's also why I've decided to make them so big, because if he's going to have 20 hats, I need them to like last for at least, what will it be, 4 years, I think. If they last him 4 years, and honestly, since this fits me, it will last him his whole life, and as long as they do that, I'm willing to make him 20 hats, but I'm not going to make them true to size right now if I'm going to make that many hats, because he'll just be heartbroken when they no longer fit too. But yeah, that is the last hat I finished. I finished that not that long ago, and it's really nice. I'm really happy with it. And this ribbing here is also fisherman's ribbing, and I did Italian bind off, which was horrible with 3 strands. It's already horrible when you do it with like 1 strand of fingering and mohair. 2 strands of fingering and mohair was not it, but I got through it, and in the end, really worth it. I'm really happy I did that. And then I also finished one project this week that was already on my needles, and that is this Ankers sweater. I thought this would be the easiest project that was already on my needles to actually finish. As I mentioned, I am struggling a bit to work on my active projects because those have been with me through my knitting slump, and a lot of my knitting slump feelings linger with those whips. But I did get through one of them. I just had to do a little bit of stockinette, and for the Ankers blouse by Petiteknit, you're supposed to do just stockinette and then fold up and sew. I'm not into that, so I do ribbing. You have to think a little bit about the length then, but I just add length too. But yeah, little bit of stockinette, I think, from here was where I picked it up this week, and stockinette, ribbing, and then both sleeves. It was a quite quick knit when I just got into it, and I got one less whip on my needles, and I also got all of this yarn out of my stash, which again a huge plus. It's been quite a good week in terms of stash busting, so I'm really happy with that. This is also for a baby gift, but this is for the baby gift that I have the most time to do, so I need to get my priorities right, so I make things in the right order. And then I still have this whole basket full of whips. It's like full. I am able to work a little bit on them, but I have to force myself a little bit more than what I would like. And I also don't think this is all of my whips. I think I have 2 whips that are not in here. So I looked at my app right before recording, where I track all of my knitting, and I think I have 10 whips right now. I think quite a few of them are close to being done, but then I also have quite a few that are nowhere near being done. But the one other project I have been working on this week is this tide sweater. This is a test knit, should be way further along by now, but the knitting slump has just taken a lot out of me and also put me way behind. But let me just see if I can find my marker. I think I did like 2 centimeters on the body this week before I ran out of the Isager tweed, and then I was supposed to start on the neck right away. Did not start right away, didn't start until today. It's probably been 3 or 4 days, but I have started on the neckline now, and I have been able to do quite a bit, so that will definitely be done today, and then I'll just have to decide if I'm going to do the sleeves or body. But now I really feel like the ball is starting to roll, and it is definitely more difficult to pick up the projects in here than all of my other projects, but we are getting somewhere. I am a little bit stressed about my deadlines. This test knit deadline is kind of stressing me because it's also work for someone else, so I should really be able to do it, but I don't think it's very likely. But I'm going to get as far as possible, as quickly as possible, fingers crossed, without killing my knitting mojo again. But hopefully I'll get quite far on this today. And then I have some other projects in here that I'll hopefully get to, at least the baby ones. And then, of course, my biggest deadline is the Christmas gifts, the slippers, which I have not worked on now in so very long, but I still think I might be able to do it. I just have to knit in the right priority list because some of them needs to be shipped, so those needs to be finished first, and then I just have to see how it goes. I think the plan right now is to do kind of a week of knitting sometime soon, but it will not be the regular week of knitting with all of my different projects, but it will be a week of knitting just seeing how many slippers I'll get done in a week. And that idea is making me really excited to knit slippers. I think that's a good way of doing it and to kickstart it back up again. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on mainly this week, but I've also been spending quite a lot of time trying to rebuild my knitting mojo and make myself really excited again. And to do that, I've spent almost all week looking at this. This is my mood box inspirational source for the season. This is my fall knitting plans. I love putting it like this because whenever a knit or lack of inspiration hits, I'll look at this and it really does bring back a lot. And what I have really enjoyed about this has been that I have some plans that are 100% like melange sweater for my son, Ingrid sweater for my son, zipper sweater for me, slippers, Marius sweater, tide sweater, finishing Korsvika jacket junior, down to Dusk Shacket, and a baby knit. But I also have yarn like this boucle here, this alpaca here, this one, that I can look at and see what do I want to do, what sparks inspiration. So this skein and this skein has been my main focus of the week, and I think I figured out what I want to do with the boucle. I think I want to make the sweater number 24 by my favorite things knitwear, but for that one I need you need to hold the boucle with alpaca, and I don't have any light grey alpaca, so we'll see. I don't think it will happen this season, probably because I have a lot of deadlines, and probably not this year, but at least I know what I want to do with it. And I've looked a lot at this skein. I love this color. I really want to work on this going towards Advent. I think this would be amazing for Advent, both knitting on it and wearing it. And I think I've decided I want to do the Siri cardigan by, I think it's Lenholm Samsa, Lenit. I think so. I'm a bit unsure, but I've been looking at the Lena cardigan for quite some time. I think it's really pretty. I've also been thinking about, because for the last 2, I think, falls, I've been knitting cable projects, and I haven't really figured out what to do this year, but I really think that the Siri cardigan could be it. I will have to wait until I see where I'm at with my deadlines, but I really think that that could be maybe an Advent knit for myself, and kind of an early Christmas gift to myself. So I've spent a lot of time on knitting Instagram and on Ravelry and everywhere, looking at patterns, looking at yarn, and it's really sparks my inspiration. And I highly recommend having a box like this with knits to look forward to that you know you're going to do, and also some random yarns that you really want to work with but that you don't know what you're going to do. Just to go back to and spark inspiration, because it has really helped me, and this is not the first time, but that is everything I have this week. Now I'll hopefully go back to knitting, and I'll see you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. Bye!